Let's see. All right. Are you
James,
Jim Landers?
how are you doing?
I don't know. Melissa should be here, but I had to kind of fill in for her to get the SteamYard connection up. She was having some issues with her computer connecting, so she's going to be along shortly. She had to go find another someone, find another laptop, um, and so she should be logging in shortly, or she's going to be coming around the corner, and and so I can trying to figure out how to log in. So um, anyway, yeah, so we should be having her coming in shortly.
Cool.
Yeah. So how's everything going?
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be doing even better if I loved the hot weather.
Well, yeah. Yeah. I don't think it's going to get any better
I can
unless.
see how bright it is behind you. Man, the sun is just harsh.
Yeah. Well, and actually, it's not that bad. It's just right at the very front where our front door is. That's like it's
Is that the
direct.
worst spot? Hmm.
It is. Well, you remember when we were back across the way in that
Yeah.
other building, and we had the sun, you know, coming in right in the front entrance. That front area was just terrible
Oh man.
during the summer. But anyway, let me go see what's going on with her. Uh, I'll be right back.
Do you want me to just go get going and get started, or do you want me to hang out and just just
It,
talk to myself for a little bit?
yeah, talk to yourself. Uh, yeah, I'll be right back. Let me
Okay.
1 second.
Cool. I don't know how many are watching right now, but I hope you guys are having a fantastic day and you're doing what it takes to reach your goals. And if you don't know what your goals are, then what are you heading towards? I have found a lot of people's goals are so general that they don't help you. It'd be like, I just want to be happy. Well, that's not a goal that you can reach for. It'd be like, I've got a car and I want to go somewhere, and you just say, I want to go somewhere. Okay. Don't you have to define where you're going to go in order to give yourself potential to get there? Yeah. So, so we need to define what our goals are very specifically, and not just tomorrow, next week, but our whole life. What do we want out of this life? Hope you guys are thinking about that. I certainly need to think more about that. Yeah, it's what you can hear.
I'm watching.
Oh,
I like your pillow.
that's funny. So I am glad that you guys are here. I know that Melissa and James have a ton on their plate. They're doing so much. I mean, they've got the regular things that they do. You know, running a lab and making sure things are going smoothly, and making sure employees get what they need, and making sure that the supplies are there so that the employees can do their jobs. Making sure that all these different variables are in place to have things happen for us the way we have come to expect. And they have a lot of plates spinning in the air all at the same time. And so sometimes things go incredibly smoothly, and other times they don't. And that's good. That's fine. So, and because that's normal. That's how it is for all of us. We all experience tough parts, difficult things, and we find a way to fix it, to continue, because we keep on keeping on. Isn't that right, James?
That's right. If I raise the this just a little bit, your Finerworks logo will be on my Polaroid bag. Well, they are working hard to make things happen. You can tell, and of course we appreciate it. We appreciate all that you guys do there at Finer Works to help our artwork look amazing, so that other people can enjoy it. So James and his team there at Finer Works, we're very appreciative of all the hard work and effort that they put in to make things happen. For us, we're just sending in an order and it comes back, and usually it's pretty darn fantastic. But for them, there's a lot of things go into it. Having fun yet, James? I see me now. Hmm. This is fun. It's the hurry up and wait game, and we all have done it, and it's all good.
And it's still showing this, unless it's like a super delay.
I hear you.
You do hear us?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I
I
don't
hear
know.
you. I can't see either one of you, but I'm hearing you.
Oh, you don't see either one of us?
Mm-mm.
No, I have.
Oh, because you just have it on Jim. Okay.
Yeah.
It's all about me.
Yes, it is. Okay. Oh,
All right. Well, I'll get started while you can.
okay, there he is.
Is it
He's coming up
screen?
on Facebook.
Okay, I'll let you figure out how to get in on the thing.
Okay.
Well, so we can let Jim get started here.
Yeah.
So,
And I'll get the presentation up, so that I can,
all right.
I can do.
So before we start, I know Melissa's would ask me, well, do we have any announcements? And I'm sure I do.
Stickers.
Stickers. Oh yes, yes. So one of the things we just added just yesterday is we added uh, a new style of sticker, kind of one with that holographic effect, with that iridescent look. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. Screen share. Window, share, and then I will go to Finer Works. Oops. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so what we did is we added a new style of sticker, which are full bleed, die cut, contour cut stickers have become real popular in recent months. And one of the things we added is this holographic effect sticker, which is really cool. So, and this can be found on our stickers page on our website. So, if anyone is interested in taking a look at that, I'll go ahead and post the link here. Here. and people can go and check out the stickers that we have there. So I posted that in the comments. So anyone watching via YouTube or Facebook Live, they can go and check those things out. The other thing that's kind of cool is we will be upgrading our matte canvas. Now, after the artisan archival canvas, or matte canvas is the most popular canvas type that we have, and we just finished profiling it so that we can get the widest gamut of colors possible. Now, one of the things that's going to distinguish this from the previous matte canvas is that this is going to be a true matte surface. The current, or the one that we will be discontinuing soon, has a little bit of a satin sheen because of the protective coating that we have to apply to it. With the new matte canvas and a new ink formulation, and the coating is actually going to be applied as with the inks, and it's going to uh, be a true matte surface. So
Nice.
when you look at it, I mean, it's not going to have any sort of satin glare to it that you get normally from applying a coating. So we're looking forward to offering that to our users, and we're going to start phasing that in next week, hopefully as soon as Monday. Um, and I think that's all. Can you think of anything else that I might be missing?
I guess our stickers have been
Yeah.
a big thing. So.
Yeah, so that and the stickers, those are the two new things right around the corner. Or the stickers are actually live now, the sticker options. So
Those are
so
both
now,
cool.
yeah. So
And those stickers look really interesting. That looks
yeah,
fantastic.
they're. I put one on my. You can see that got stickers.
Love it.
Yeah. So
Love it.
it says below that, got stickers. Finer Works does. So we're going to actually send out samples for all non-dropship orders over the next couple weeks. We're going to send a sample sticker to anyone that
Oh,
places an order with us.
that's a good way to market it. That way we could actually see it.
Yeah, it's nothing like actually
Feeling.
touching it and feeling it.
Yeah,
They're
that's
good
great.
quality stickers. They're printed with solvent inks on one of our wide format printers. Very durable inks. They won't smudge, or they're relatively scratch resistant. I mean, anything can scratch, but they're not. They're not going to scratch like your typical inkjet print would.
Hmm.
Like I said, they're made out of solvent ink, so commercial grade inks actually. So
How is it cut so that it's just perfect around the subject? I noticed that no matter what the shape was, it was
sure,
it was irrelevant.
sure.
It's whatever the shape is, that's what it was cut to.
So some people call these die cut stickers. We call them contour cut. Same thing. But the equipment that does it, I think we're putting together a video that's going to kind of show how that's done. But it's kind of behind the scenes, a little short video. And basically, it's fed through something called a plotter. Some people, when they hear the term plotter, they think of a type of inkjet printer that prints like blueprints and so forth. And that's, I guess, one definition. Another definition, the definition that I'm referring to, is it's a digital cutter that actually cuts out the shape. We supply the shape in the form of a vector file, and it reads registration marks that are printed when the actual artwork is printed. All the stickers are printed, in rows and columns on large sheets of vinyl, and it reads the registration marks and knows where to apply the contour cuts. And it has a blade that actually cuts out all this. First, does what's called a kiss cut, so where it's not cutting away the sticker entirely from the vinyl, just cutting the adhesive layer. so that the liner is still intact. And then it does a full outer cut, which cuts it out. And then you can just, that way you can easily peel it away from the liner afterward.
Oh, that's smart.
So I don't have a
Sample
sample, except for what's,
ones on your
yeah, I never had sample.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're real popular, and we've discovered, or I discovered. I think a lot of people already knew this, but me, I'm sometimes late to the party. But that they're real popular in the fine art community. Artists love to offer them as, sometimes as little kind of promotional items. Or
Yeah, for sure.
well, we had some local, or some of our employees actually were participating in an art show a couple of weeks ago, and made some decent money just selling their artwork as stickers at the art shows. So that's a relatively popular trend right now with artists. So yeah, stickers will. I don't know why, but they're just a lot of fun.
Nice.
So anyway, so
Are we simulcasting?
Yes.
Yes, we are. So
Where are we? Where are we on Photo SA?
you are now.
Not on Photo Essay.
Oh.
For whatever reason, it never connects to Photo Essay. But
Oh.
it is on the Finer Works Facebook site and the Finer Works YouTube.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll have to figure out why that is.
So it's on Finerworks though. Is that
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And actually, I'll share a photo essay from the
Yeah.
Facebook.
Definitely do that, and I'll share it on my own personal page.
Yeah.
So let's see. Tuesday. There we are. So I'm going to click that share button, share now, and that should share straight to my own profile page. Let's see if it did.
And I'm going to give you full. What do I do?
Well, actually, you just go ahead and put him in full screen mode. And
Full screen mode.
Full screen. Oh my. You don't want to see me that close.
yourself if you like.
All right. So it's all on you now.
All on me. Cool. Well, I believe I just forwarded it to my own Facebook personal page, so those who are watching it there be able to see me. Let's see. Good. I think so. Well, guess what, guys? Today we are talking about something that I think is important, but not everybody does. Not everybody's going to agree with this, and that's fine. But even if you don't think it's for you, you will see the value in it. And you will see why some people, like me, choose to do this. So today we're going to be talking about what happens after the printing. So there's a lot of things that could happen. And now this is, I definitely have a lean towards the portrait photographer, but this applies to any type of art that you want to apply this tool with. But I consider a full service photographer to be someone who gives no work whatsoever to their client. Now, obviously their client, let's say it's a family portrait. Their client has to, get the family together, especially the mom is one in charge of this. But she is usually responsible for getting everyone up in the morning and getting them dressed and getting their hair done. But prior to that, she's probably putting the clothing outfits together to make sure they match. She might have even gone and bought everything new. And these things are taking time, and she does have some responsibilities here that can be very time consuming. But as far as the photography side, you give your client no work. That is what full service is. Now, what does that mean? It depends on the type of work that you do as to what that means. Let's say you're just doing a headshot for someone's LinkedIn profile. Well, then creating that photograph, optimizing it for LinkedIn, and then sending it to them so that they can upload it to their LinkedIn site is full service, optimized. It's ready to go. But let's say it's a family portrait. Family portraits don't usually, well, they may wind up on someone's Facebook or LinkedIn page, but that's not where they wind up in a stereotypical sense. They wind up on someone's wall so they can enjoy it. That's the place where we enjoy art. And so we've got the family portrait up on the wall. Now, they had to do some work to get there. Now, let me give you my philosophy behind this, because I didn't always, it never crossed my mind to be full service. In fact, I thought I was full service until I learned more. But let me tell you that progression. So at first, when I started off, it was film. Their digital didn't exist yet. I started in 1991, so obviously there were digital cameras, but not hardly any photographers used them at the time. But they of course did exist. You guys know that Photoshop has been around since 1987, and digital photography has been around since 1969. Yeah, these things have been around a long time, but we didn't start really use them until the 90s, and then it didn't become popular or the thing to do for pro photographers until the early 2000s. So it's only been about 2 decades that we've been doing digital photography. But when I started, it was film, and so it never crossed our mind to sell the negatives because it was in an unfinished state. There was still more work to do. Now, people knew what to do with negatives. They could take it to their local lab and have it printed. So you may think, well, they know what to do with it, so therefore I just sell them this. No photographer ever did that. Only once digital started did photographers start cutting that particular corner. Now, I'm not saying that you're wrong for cutting that corner, but it is a corner being cut when you sell your digital files, when there is more work to be done. This is a good business model in some situations and not the right one for others. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying it's different. So I started printing images because everyone printed images. That was just how, when it was film, there's not a single photographer who didn't print their work. It just didn't happen. All photographers printed their work. Now there are some photographers who've never seen their work printed. That's crazy to me. Crazy. By the way, if you've never had your work printed, get it printed. Just play. You will experience it so differently that you'll fall in love with the print. You will. You can't help it. It's a totally different dimension. It's the step up. And you deserve a step up. So I create these images. I print them based on what the client wanted. And then what happens? Well, when I had a studio, they'd come and pick it up. And I wouldn't know what happened. But there were times when I chose to step it up, or there was a time when I chose to step it up. And this would be probably in 2000, I don't remember, 5, 7, somewhere in that range, where I started doing the planning session in the home, the portrait selection consultation in the home, and I started seeing things totally differently as a result. So I'm in their home doing the planning session, meaning I can see where the photograph is going on the wall. I know what the appropriate size is because I'm in the space looking at it. I further know what the decor of the room is. I know the personality of the people. I can suggest locations based on things and clothing based on things that are going to match the environment. And then I know the size it's supposed to be because it's in the environment. So therefore, I know what this thing's supposed to be. A new world opened up for me because I just thought I was supposed to create beautiful photographs. I thought that was my job. And it's part of it. But if that's where you end, man, you've got a long way to go. Now, I'm not saying that that's the right thing for everybody, because it's not. But for me, as a family portrait photographer, I specialized in emotional family portraits as home decor. Now, that was added. I didn't start off being that way. I started off as a photographer who took on pretty much any job that came along because I thought being versatile and knowing everything was the right way to go. I learned later that it wasn't. But it took me a while. I'm a slow learner. So eventually I got it. But in doing this, I started realizing, you know what? I'm giving my client work to do because I give them this print. It's beautiful. I'm thrilled. I'm proud. They come in and they see it when they picked it up at the lab. They came in and they saw it and they were thrilled. They were proud. But what happens next? Well, they've got to go get it framed, and then they have to put it on the wall. All right, I get it. Well, that wasn't how I progressed at first. It was I moved into delivering it to their home. Delivering. Instead of having them come pick it up, I started delivering it. And there was this one instance that caused my eyes to be opened. And I think that this story is going to open your eyes too. It was a simple story. I created these beautiful images for this family. They needed it by a very specific date because they were going to have a party at their home. Now, I don't remember if it was a housewarming party or just an event at their house. I think it was just some event, some important event in their life. But they were inviting people over, and they wanted this photograph to be up on the wall so that they could be proud of it, so that they could see it. And so I got it done in time and delivered it by. They wanted it 3 days. Maybe it was a week ahead of time. Maybe it's 2 weeks. I think it was 2 weeks now that I'm thinking about it. 2 weeks ahead of time. So I got it delivered in time. The date that they wanted it by, it was last minute. It was a rush job, but I made it happen. Yes, it was a print made by Finerworks, and this image was beautiful. It was ready to go, and all they had to do was frame it. This was before Finerworks was doing framing, at least before I knew. But this was way back. This was early on Finerworks. And so I delivered it. All they needed to do was frame it and put it up on the wall. That's it. I was invited to this event. I was really looking forward to seeing this photograph on the wall. So I get there, and I'm looking around for the photograph. And at some point I get a chance to talk to Mom and ask, where did you wind up putting that photograph? And she said, oh, Jim, I appreciate you working so hard to get it to me, but I just didn't have enough time to get it done. It's in the closet. Now, a weak-minded photographer might look at her as being, come on, that's an excuse. You told me you wanted to have it done by a certain date. I made it happen. Why didn't you do what you said you were going to do? That's what a weak mind does. A strong mind says, I could have done more to help her. And you analyze what that could be. Well, I could have gotten it framed. Finerworks does framing. They do now. Finerworks does framing. And so I could have done that. But what's one step further? Because even if I got it framed, would she have had enough time to put it on the wall? I don't know. Maybe. But maybe not. The point is, it was in the closet. So therefore, there's more that I could do. And so installation is something that I can do. Now, is that something that you have to do yourself? It isn't. You can hire installers. There's lots of installation companies. Those who install. Let's say you need a light. They want it in a place that's kind of dark and there needs to be a light above it. Any installer who does TVs knows how to put electrical stuff in. So therefore, they are perfect for that. So there's definitely people who could do that for you. I chose to do it myself in most instances. Not all, but in most of the time I did it myself. And so that experience caused me to see what a real full service photographer is. Now this applies to anything. This is not just photography. It's any type of art that's going on someone's wall. You could, if you are doing it in a local environment. Obviously, if it's somewhere else and you got to fly over to it, well, the price might cause you not to be able to do that. But if it's a local environment and you help out people in your local area, this is something that you could do as an added service. Let's talk about the photography side of it. So let's talk about the preparation to make something like this happen. So the first thing, and I can share. Can I share this with you? Let me see. Share my screen. Window. Yes, I can share this with you. There it is. All right. So what you're seeing right now is my handout. And so this is what I'm sharing with you today is part of one of my programs called Client Sales Process, and it takes you from the first phone call or wherever it is the very first time you get to visit with them and a commitment can be formed, all the way until where we're at right now, the installation. And so let's talk about the preparation. Now, I wonder if I can make that slightly larger. Zoom. 200% is probably too much. Let's do 150. Does that do the trick? Yeah, that fills it up. Fills that screen up just a little bit more. All right. So first thing is preparation. Send email updates at every step of the process. We need to keep up the communication. Yes, you may have said it before, but they've got a million things going on in their mind. When you say something interesting, their mind travels off into it, and so they're not listening 100% to what you're saying any longer. So assume that they don't know this yet and purposefully repeat yourself, and not at the exact same time necessarily, but at a later time. Keep the communication up so they know what's happening. That way, when you say you're going to do something and it's just the normal progression of the things that you normally do, you just do it. So therefore, from their point of view, they see you as a person who keeps their word. And you definitely like people who do that. So be that person. Second, make sure that things are progressing at the lab. Now, what does that mean? First of all, you need to order in time so that the lab can get it done by the time you need it by. Of course, you need to know when the due date is supposed to be. You just keep up with that stuff. You know that stuff. Next, do everything that you said you were going to do. Since it's your normal progression, you're probably going to anyway, but make sure you do. And I have a suggestion on how to make that happen here in just a moment. Next, when that image is complete, you're going to call and to make arrangements for the delivery and installation. So when you call to make arrangements, make sure that you mention what their balance is if they have a balance. I don't have a balance at that point. I have already taken care of it. In fact, when someone orders is when they pay for it. But not everyone has that same business model. So if they have a balance due, get that over the phone right then. If you don't get the payment then over the phone and you show up and install that photograph, and that at that point you ask them for the money and they don't have it, we actually have a problem. And it's not them that's the problem at this point, it's you, because you could have prevented this problem. Because if they don't have it now, no problem. Let me know when you do, and I'll schedule a time. We'll take care of it over the phone, and then we'll schedule a time for me to come out and do it. That way you still have the print until you get paid. That's the smart way to do it. The smarter way to do it, though, is to get paid when it's ordered, in my opinion. Everybody's different. Next, getting everything in order. Now, I mentioned in just a moment ago, do everything you said you would do, and there's a way to come up with that. Here it is. Here's your homework. Here's an action step. I want you to create a checklist of all the different steps that you do, the things you say, all these different parts, so that you know exactly where you are at each stage of the process. You've got a million things going on in your life. You're not going to remember everything. There's just too many variables. So reduce the number of things you have to remember by creating a checklist that you use for every single job. Next, dress to impress. Now, that doesn't mean overdo it. It means being appropriate. But don't show up like you've just spent the entire day at the lake. Next thing is review the client's information. Make sure that you know. So let's say you photograph that family and you go to their home and you have forgotten the kids' names in the meantime. Okay, there's an easy solution to that. Review their information before you deliver it. Know what their names are. Next, have a client's contact information just in case you need to reach them. I've got my contact my client's contact information on my phone. That way, it's an easy thing. If something happens and I'm running late, I can easily let them know. And then leave early so that you don't arrive late. Don't allow something like traffic to be your excuse for being late. Now, there's always extreme examples, but if it's normal traffic, if it's you're going to be delivering at 6 o'clock, there's 5 o'clock traffic and it runs past 6 o'clock. And if you think, oh, I didn't realize there'd be traffic, come on, really? All right, now let's talk about preparation that is the physical stuff of preparation that you do. In my opinion, artists sign their work to somehow identify it. Now, we all do it in different ways. Some of it is a signature. Sometimes it's initials. Sometimes it's a symbol or a slogan. Sometimes it's stamped into it. Sometimes it's a watermark. There are a lot of different ways that people that artists identify their work. But I believe that artists should identify their work. Otherwise, it's anonymous. And that doesn't show, in my opinion, doesn't show pride in your work. Plus, if someone is wondering who did the work and so they're looking for that and it's not there, then you're not going to get called. So I think you should sign your work. But this is your art. You do what you want. Next, carefully and beautifully package everything to show the value of your products and services. Now, Fineworks does a fantastic job of packaging your work. I mean, fantastic job. For me, I undo their fantastic job. Not because I don't think it's fantastic, not because I think I can do any better, but because I deliver my stuff personally. So therefore, I want it to be something that has that looks like from me personally. So you could, let's say I've got this framed 40 by 50. And so I'd like to suggest to you that maybe you have you create something to deliver it in. Here's a suggestion. A black felt bag with your logo embroidered on the front of it, where someone across the street could see your logo. And so you walk in with that. That's one great way to do it. I also have a little black box, and I'll show that to you, that looks, and I guess I should temporarily stop sharing so that you can see this better. I guess I brought you back on, James. So this is my black box for 8x10 and smaller. And you can see that it has my logo on it. That's my old phone number, so that phone number won't reach me anymore. And it has just a simple tie on it. We actually have some ribbon that's pretty wide that we will use on this, and probably not usually use that thing I just showed you. But inside, and this one has nothing in it except for the tissue paper that we use. And so the print goes inside the tissue paper, and then we have a sticker that goes right here that holds that together, that says thank you for your order or something like that. So that's the presentation that we deliver our things in, and we do have some bigger boxes too. I think the largest one's like 11 by 14, so not a whole lot larger than that, because everything else other than that gets framed. So that's how we do that part of it. Now let me share again my screen so you can see my. There it is. All right. So are you seeing? Yep, you're seeing that on the screen again. So I was just making sure you could see the handout. So you're beautifully packaging everything to show the value of your products and your services. Clearly identify the images. So this is the images themselves, the print on the back of every print, I identify it. So I'm putting Landers Photography, I'm putting our contact information there, landersphotography.com, and the image number and other identifying information so that it is easy to replace it. So if there's water damage later on the line, or if there's something that happens to it that they need it replaced, or they just want another copy of it, it's very easy for them to identify what it is that they want another print made of. So that's and it's chances are they'll remember. But let's say it's a family member who says, "Oh, I want I want one of those too." That's how they can identify it. So that information is on the back of the print, and we have this little sticker that also shows copyright information that we do. Robin actually does that entire part of it, where she puts a big sticker on the back, and I have our stickers right here. I'll show that to you. So I'll stop sharing for just a moment while I show you that. So this is our sticker. It's just on a roll. And so our sticker goes on the back of all of the prints. And then there's another sticker below that has our contact information, copyright information, and job information. So all those things are there.
Yeah, that's we actually, speaking of stickers, and we were talking about stickers earlier, we actually have, I've already seen this where artists are ordering little 2x2 stickers from us, with their logos on them, or other, identifying graphic, related to their art business, and they're ordering those with batches of prints, and then or they're just ordering those period, and we're sending they're doing things like
Subscription boxes.
yeah, they're being used for like subscription boxes, or they're being put on the back. Sometimes in the
Branding
margins.
themselves really
Yeah.
well.
Using the brand themselves, like
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect.
so.
I think it's smart to identify who you are, and with these stickers that you guys can produce for us really easily, we need to be taking advantage of things like that. Now, the one that I write I write the job number on it because that's different. The things that are consistent for everyone, that's we do pre-print that, but then there's job information specific to the job that we write in. Do you have stickers that I could write on?
The vinyl you could write on. I don't know. You probably have to figure out what.
Kind of marker word.
Yeah, there might be a certain marker.
So like a fine tip Sharpie, maybe?
Maybe. You have to
Yeah.
make sure you really let it dry though. It would probably smear a bit.
Yeah, because I'm sure there's certain markers that are going to work better than others. Some might be a little might slide like smear. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you could design a sticker with a place for you to input some additional writing. But yeah, I think you just have to figure out what type of marker would work best, or what kind of pen would work best without the ink smearing. Or you may have to write it. It may take a few seconds for the ink to fully cure from the pen. But I mean, it's just vinyl.
Cool. Yeah. So we definitely want to identify our work, and using stickers is certainly a good way to do that. I mean, it's going to last a long time. It looks good. It builds your brand as being something special, something different, because most artists aren't doing that kind of thing. There may be more of them that are doing it, but it's a small percentage, and most people aren't dealing with a whole lot of people, so they may have never seen it before. You may, from their point of view, you may be the only one who does it that way. So yeah, this branding is just smart business.
One of the things we do with our drop shipping program is we recognize that branding is important. So the labels that get printed on the packing slip, um, artists and photographers that use us to have us drop ship their orders to their customers, that packing slip will have their logo uh, printed on it in the corner. And the packing slip, we also peel off a section of a label that's on the packing slip where that logo will also be printed on, and we put that on the outer package. So when a person sees that package on their doorstep or in their mailbox, they see the artist or the photographer's logo right there. And then to add it, take it one step further, we have a tier program for order fulfillment. Some of our users that have us fulfill, say 10 orders a day or more, we have a special program where we will have special labels and special stickers set aside specifically for their orders that to go either on the print itself, like in the back, or on the outer package. We're not talking about just a small logo. Sometimes these can be, large bumper sticker size stickers
Really?
uh, that we put on orders. But
So is that
yeah,
for when it's drop shipped when
yeah,
the
to the users,
I
uh,
like that.
customers. It's hard to do it for everyone because we just can't, just store. I mean, it's
Logistically,
yeah.
having
If
to.
we have like a user that again is putting like 10 orders a day on average or something like that, we can actually dedicate dedicate some space for their inserts and materials and things of that nature, where otherwise, we would have too many.
Yeah,
Uh,
that would be difficult to do for everybody. I can imagine.
but it really brands the artwork, identifies it with that artist or that photographer. And I think like what you're saying is that's extremely important because it adds that element that I don't think I don't think the clientele expects, and when they see it, it just elevates the experience.
It does.
You know,
It's all those little things add up to them finding value in you and your price and wanting to continue working with you. So, yeah, good stuff. Thank you for sharing that, James. All right, so let me bring my handout back. Window, there it is. All right. So the next step is decide how you're going to wow them with your delivery presentation and do that. Think about this in your mind. Maybe look at what other people are doing and then one up them. But just what different things can we do to make this a fantastic experience? Now, let's talk about specifically the delivery and the installation. So we've done all of the stuff that we need to do ahead of time. We've prepped it. We're ready to go, and we're driving out to get to deliver it to our client's home and then install it on their wall. So let's start with mindset. Where does our mind need to be as a professional? Your issues, your problems, your concerns, your emotions are irrelevant. This is not about you. Sure, you are on stage. You are in the spotlight. Everything must seem amazing and perfect to give your client the experience that they deserve. This is my opinion. You may not share it, and that's fine. Next, I suggest that you arrive 5 minutes early and no later than on time. And I suggest that anytime you go to someone's home, if you arrive too early, they may not be prepared, but you never want to be late. So make sure that your attitude is full of happiness, appreciation, professionalism, and of course, confidence. We want to build the base for an exciting, comfortable experience. So greet them with enthusiasm. What happens in the first few minutes shapes the experience. For me, I'm going to comment with something along the lines of, I am so excited to deliver these photographs to you. Present the prints with enthusiasm, expecting them to be thrilled. I mean, that's what you were going for from the beginning. I haven't mentioned it today, but I may have mentioned it before. I have a thrilled guarantee on my portrait work. Thrilled guarantee. I absolutely guarantee you'll be thrilled, not satisfied. Every photographer can just satisfy you. I want something, I want to go above that. I absolutely guarantee that you will be thrilled, not just satisfied with my photographs. Or I'll do anything it takes to make you thrilled, or I'll give you your money back. I understand not everybody's going to do something like that. And you may think that's a little extreme. But I came across one that was more extreme. What? Yes. Serious. It was the cry guarantee. This particular photographer guaranteed that you would cry when you saw their work, or they would do whatever it takes to make it where you would cry. So they're after a certain type of target market who is going to react to that, to the work that way. And so someone who thinks that's nuts or that's crazy is probably going to just avoid that photographer. So they're after someone who is very emotional, who when they see that photograph of their family, they do cry tears of joy. And that's my goal. I want my clients to cry. I really do. And so I have to find out ahead of time what it is about their family that makes them have an emotional response. And then I create that in my photographs. And that's all part of planning. I can create beautiful photographs just like everybody can. You know, a photographer that started yesterday can probably create some beautiful photographs. But we want something that is deeper than what everybody else can do. You know, everybody else can show up and press a button. That to me is not professional. That's what the neighbor could have done. You have to be deeper than that, in my opinion. You do whatever is best for you. All right, so I'm presenting these prints with enthusiasm. I'm expecting them to be thrilled. And then if it is a wall portrait, I'm installing it on their wall. Now, does it happen that way every time? No, it doesn't. But most of the time, they have purchased a wall portrait and I am installing it on their wall. And you may think, well, where are you going to install it? Well, we already planned it. I know exactly where it goes. So I go in with the tools that I need so that I can install it on their wall in the spot that we planned during the planning session before the photography session. I know exactly where it's going to go. I know exactly what tools I need in order to make it happen. And I brought them with me. I'd let them know for sure that if there is anything you can do to make them thrilled, that you're going to do it. I'm repeating this. Now, I'm seeing them acting thrilled, but sometimes people don't share what it is they're thinking. So we'll get to that here in just a second under A, observe, but I'll come to that in a second. So tell them, guide them on what to do if they want to make a change. Now, I'll come back to that here. No, I'll just tell you now. So if they feel like there's something, mom says, I didn't realize that I had some hair, that was out of place. It was blowing in the wind, and I don't really like that. I want them to tell me this. For me, I'm reprinting. I know that's not what everybody's going to do, but it's one of the small differentiators between me and the next photographer. If there's something about it they don't like, I fix it. I don't care about fault. If you're playing the fault game, you're losing. Placing blame is what losers do. Finding solution is what winners do. I'm going to find a solution. Sure, in my mind, I do a fixed blame. Sure, that happens. I think that's a human thing. But that's where it ends. I'm not going to expand that. I'm going to expand solution. I want to expand positive. So therefore, I give them an easy out. If there's anything about this photograph, anything that you want me to correct, you want me to improve, you want me to enhance, you let me know. I'm going to make it happen. I'll give you guys an example. And by the way, that doesn't happen very often. You may think, well, man, you're opening yourself up to all kinds of problems. No, no. I mean, if you're depending on the type of client you deal with, but I don't deal with clients who have time for that kind of stuff. So I do definitely deal with a higher end client. My average sale is $3,800. So I'm not dealing with the mindset of someone who's only willing to spend 200, 300, $400. And they definitely have a different mindset. That doesn't mean they're not good people. They're fantastic people. They just have a concept of how to spend money that is not ideal for the type of work that I do. So I let them know how to let me know. I want it to be easy for them. Now let me tell you the story. Now this particular story is not one where they saw a problem. It's I saw a problem. I got to their home. We did all the normal steps, pleasantries, and visited with them. It was fun. Played with the dog for a little bit and went to install this portrait. Got it up on the wall, and I back up and take a look at it, and I notice a mistake. Now, it wasn't a mistake until it got up on the wall. What does that mean? This wall, I knew ahead of time what color it was. It was a mustard yellow. I know some of you are thinking, really? Someone paints their wall mustard yellow? Yeah, I've seen every color. Yeah, people paint their walls mustard yellow. Just not a lot. But I get this up on their wall, and the sky looks like it has a purple tint to it. That's when I realized this needs to be fixed. And so I told them what I was going to do. I'm going to, I think I couldn't see this before I got it up on your wall. Otherwise, I would have fixed it before I got here, because it means I have to make another trip out here. But I like visiting with you, but I don't want to have to do that because it's time consuming. But I want to make sure that things are right. So therefore, this purple tint, I think because of the yellow wall, is showing up. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to isolate just the sky. I'm going to pull all red out, and I'm going to reprint it. And then a few weeks later, maybe 2 weeks or 1 week, I don't recall, a period of time later, I came back out and put the new one up on the wall and took the old one with me. I did leave that with them because they already had that anticipation of it being there, but I make it easy for them. So once it's up there and you're proud of it, I want you to photograph your installation. This is a marketing tool. Photograph your installation. Then I want you to get them standing with it, because at that moment, they're at a high. They are excited. They've got the biggest smiles on their face. They are so proud. So I get them standing in front of it with those big old smiles, showing off their new piece of artwork on the wall. And then I go one step further, and I get a video of them commenting. So I get a video testimonial at that point of them standing with their artwork, because that's the best time to do it. And then as I'm leaving, I'm telling them how much I enjoyed working with them, and I can't wait for the next time. Now, I mentioned earlier I was going to come to observe. Let's talk about this. When you're showing them the artwork for the first time, I want you to watch. I want you to listen. You're going to learn a lot. Listen to inflections. Pay attention to body language. You want to know if there's a problem or concern, because sometimes they don't say it, but you can pick it up based on how they're speaking or body language. So I am watching for that, because I seriously, I want this to be just right for them. And then the second, your clients do not appreciate you wasting their time. You've planned what you're going to do. Get that done and get going. Unless it was planned ahead of time, do not stick around for dinner. Don't stick around for drinks. You need to go. This is their environment. This is you need to make sure that that they still want more of you around. So, and I'm not saying if it was planned ahead of time, don't do it. Then it's totally up to you. But last minute stuff, I would say get going. Besides, aren't you busy? Don't you have plenty of things to do? Yeah, you need to do them. All right, number 4, follow up. I guess I'll move that down a little bit. Follow up. Immediately write a thank you note. Now, when I say it immediately, I'm saying drive away, go to the neighborhood park or someplace relatively close, but you've driven away. Don't do this in their driveway or in front of their home. Move, go away, and then write a thank you note. Now, this thank you note, the card itself, get this printed at Finerworks ahead of time and print a whole bunch of them because there's a lot of things to say thank you for. So create this beautiful thank you note, and it can have your artwork on the front of it and some nice saying or something, and then blank inside. And write your thank you note right now when it's fresh on your mind. Maybe bring up something that was interesting, something that was said, something funny, playing with the dog, something in that thank you note, and have that envelope already with your return address, write in their address. In fact, do this ahead of time with a stamp on it, and then drop it off at the nearest post office box. That way they have it tomorrow. How many photographers, how many artists are sending thank you notes? Some do. I've come across several, but they are in the vast minority. It's just not happening, and it should. It's easy and cheap. So follow up with a thank you note. Now, in 3 days to 1 week, a follow-up phone call, just to make sure they're still thrilled. You call and you say, I'm still excited about having delivered and installed your print, and I'm sitting here looking at this photograph that I made of you guys standing in front of it, and man, it just makes me feel so good. And I just had to call and ask, make sure that you're still loving it, because I've got that thrilled guarantee. If there's something about it, and sometimes you don't notice things right off the bat, but if there's something you've noticed that you'd like for me to enhance or to improve, or it's not sitting straight on the wall, whatever, I want you to let me know. I'm serious about my thrilled guarantee. You have already totally built a loyal patron of yours. When you do this, all these different steps, you have built a patron for life. But when you make this phone call, you really set it in stone, because all these things add up to something that no one else is doing, not to this extent. So a phone call in 3 days to 1 week is generally a good time to do that. I've got some action steps for you. Number 1, describe what the delivery is from your client's point of view. What happens from the client's point of view? Be your client. What is this delivery going to be? What's going to happen? Or what just happened? But make it from your client's point of view. And the reason I ask you to make it from your client's point of view first is because you're going to notice things that you could do to make it even better. You're going to notice gaps that you didn't see. Kind of like a photographer who is self-taught. They kind of brag about that, which is interesting, because self-taught to someone who is classically trained means you've got gaps in your education that you're totally unaware of, blissfully unaware of. So to some, that brag is a red flag. I'm not saying self-taught's bad. It's fantastic. It's just incomplete. Don't know that anyone would argue that, because it definitely is incomplete. You can't possibly know all there is to know. So therefore, you have gaps. Some of those gaps don't matter, though. So that's why another reason why you could be blissfully unaware and do just fine. Describe what the delivery is from your client's point of view. Make it clear what is going to happen and why you're doing it in the way you're doing it. Make it beneficial. Every single step, make it beneficial to them, and add in a lot of little wows, a lot of little things, little pieces, small things. Number 2, write it from your point of view. Write out your steps, every single little step that you're making, every one of them. Very detailed. Write out every single step that you're going to have to do in order to make this happen in the ideal way that you want it to be. And this is every step in the process, from preparation to completion, including the follow-up, the thank you message, the follow-up email, the follow-up phone call. Every single step of the way, make it detailed. By the way, those of you who take my classes, you get the templates and the scripts and all of that for this. You don't have to think this through on your own without any guidance. You have my steps, my processes, and you just tweak it to make it your own. One up mine. Number 3, make a plan of what you're going to do during the delivery. Of course, be flexible. But having a plan is a huge confidence booster. For a lot of artists, we're introverts. We don't have as much confidence as we feel we need. But when you have a plan, a process, a grouping of steps that you do, the reason why you don't have confidence is because you don't have the plan. If you lack confidence, if you're feeling unsure, it's because there's not a complete plan that is actually going to cause you to get to whatever goal you want. And too many people don't even have their goals written down. You have to. That's what builds confidence. And confidence, man, that is the fuel to get to where you're going. Number 4, and the last one. Create a checklist of the items you're going to need during the delivery and installation. Use this every time to help you prep and before you leave the session, so that you make sure you don't accidentally leave something behind. I have left things behind in the past, but I got to the point where I had everything in a spot, in a specific place. That way, if it wasn't there, it would be obvious to me, and therefore I wouldn't forget it. But I have lost things over the years. What kind of thing? I've left behind lenses. I've left behind tripods. I've left behind easels. One was a really cool. I've lost probably 10 easels over the years, but one of them was really cool. It had a light on it, and it was, I don't know, I was real proud of it, but I left it behind somewhere. Don't have it anymore. But make a list of all the things that you've got, and make sure that you wind up with them when you leave. Besides, let's say you left the hammer sitting there. Do you really want to go back for your hammer? I don't. So make a list of all the things, the checklist of all the items that you're bringing with you. All right. So those are the action steps. That's the thought process. By the way, I do this. This is the last part of the client sales process that I do in the fall of each year. That program it takes 10 hours. This particular one that we're going over today takes about 2, so it's about double the length of time that I just shared with you today. This is available for those who want to go into more detail on this. This is also available as a private class, so that for those of you who really want to go into the specifics of what you are going to be doing for your process, because everybody's process is different. And so I recommend at some point that you do a private session with me or someone else who's done this kind of thing, to be able to walk you through your steps and make it customized for what you're trying to accomplish. And I do private sessions all the time, coaching sessions. By the way, I recommend every photographer, I recommend anyone who considers themselves a professional to have a coach. I mean, you think of a coach as being something that the baseball or the basketball or the football player needs. Well, anyone who's a professional, anything, needs a coach, assuming that you believe that there's more for you to learn, more ways for you to grow. So a coach, you hire a coach because you want to experience something that maybe they have experienced, and you want someone who's experienced that to help you get there. So you hire a coach. I recommend a coach for everyone. I think that James should have a coach. I think that Melissa should have a coach. Maybe Melissa has a whole bunch of coaches. I don't know, but I think all of us have room to grow, and that's where coaching comes in. You coaches that are out there that are watching, you guys rock. You really do uplift everyone. Speaking of uplifting, James and Melissa, you guys are uplifting artists of all types, including the ones that I'm most biased towards, the photographers. Thank you guys for everything that you do to help make our world better. Thank you for being the heroes for us to make things fantastic and smooth for us and make us look like heroes for our clients.
Oh, we appreciate that, Jim. Well, I want to acknowledge on YouTube, Dr. B just said he really liked this presentation. It was very professionally done. So thank you, Dr. B, for that comment on YouTube.
Yes.
I have a question, Jim. What do you think? Should anybody go ahead and get insurances? When I worked at an art gallery, our owner would not let us go ahead and have let us hang art because of potential, like, some frames were so heavy that people would get in order, and we would tell them, well, if you're going to hang that, you're probably going to need a French cleat or something up on there. It's going to have to be mounted to some kind of support beam, and so we would not be allowed. We have, like you said, professional installers. Like there's Foster's who does San Antonio and Austin, and they do art installation, especially when it's on those crazy stairs, things like that. Should you have insurance and be insured and bonded for doing this kind of
Absolutely.
delivery?
That's such a good question, Melissa. Yes, 100%. You must have insurance, business insurance. And you definitely, when you get that business insurance, you need to tell that provider what it is that you do very clearly. They need to know that you're going into other people's homes. They have to know this. It might increase your price a little bit, but what happens if you don't tell them and therefore you wind up being not covered for it?
Yeah.
That's an even worse problem. And besides, it might go up a little bit, but it doesn't go up much.
Yeah.
Right? It's business insurance is not as expensive as a lot of people think it is. Now, there are certain industries where it's crazy. It's ridiculous. Let's say you're a doctor. Your insurance is it's crazy. It's insane. But for most of us, we don't have our business insurance is surprisingly, I don't know for you guys, but I thought when I got my quote the very first time I went after insurance, well, of course, this is a number of years ago, I was surprised at the price. Thought it was a lot less than I was expecting it to be. You have to have insurance, but let's go one step further. I don't believe that all artists, photographers should be doing the installation themselves. In fact, it is an incredibly time-consuming thing, and for some, in fact, most business models, it simply does not work. For most business models, you actually have to outsource the installation. That's on a one-to-one thing, though, and so I don't know. I can't tell you in a general sense what is right for you. You might know already. But that may be one of those things where you hire me at, just a private session, maybe a series of coaching sessions where we go over these details and we find the right solution for you. The right solution is going to save you time, money, stress in the long run. So sure, I'm not cheap to hire me as one-on-one and coaching. I'm not. And I don't want to be. I don't want to attract the $100 mindset. Those who are willing to spend $100. I want to attract those who are willing to spend thousands. It's just a different mindset. It's not a bad versus good. It has nothing to do with that. I just know the value of my work, And I know who appreciates it most. And it's not the $100 mindset folks. They are fantastic people. I need to keep on saying that because they are. They're fantastic people. They're just not right for what it is that I am creating. So therefore, I've got to be clear in what I do to attract the people who are going to appreciate it the most.
Well, our next Photo Tips Monthly coming up will be September 8th, and that is using your light meter. Can you give a little detail about what you cover in that kind of presentation?
Sure thing. So a light meter is something that is found in your camera, and there is a handheld light meter. The handheld light meter is superior to the one that's in your camera. However, for most of us, the one in the camera is plenty good enough. We just don't need it. And so we're going to be talking about what that light meter is, what it does, and in relationship to using manual mode on your camera. So your light meter is just simply doing what you would expect it to do. It's measuring the amount of light that's in the scene, that if it's inside your camera, that's coming through the lens and hitting the image sensor or film, if you're using film. So what is it actually doing? What is its purpose? Because it averages the scene. So just because your light meter looks right does not mean that it is correct for what you're trying to accomplish. So we'll talk about what that baseline is and how you can compare and contrast the different variables so that you wind up with the photograph that you want. I keep seeing photographs on Facebook groups and such that show these before-after photographs, and man, they seem so proud, and I want them to be proud, so I'm certainly not going to take anything away from that. But they show this photograph that's clearly been underexposed or overexposed, but I'm picturing one in my head right now that's underexposed, meaning there's just not enough light. And they show this after photograph that has the right amount of light because they fixed it in Photoshop or they fixed it in Lightroom or some other image manipulation program. And they're so proud that they fixed it. Guys, do it right in camera and you won't be spending any time fixing it. What's that?
Save yourself from the work.
Oh my gosh. Yes. And if you get it right in camera, it's a higher quality photograph. There's a lot of digital manipulation that you do that reduces the quality of the photograph.
Mm-hmm.
If you have an underexposed image and you bring it up, it's grainier. The little dots that make up the photograph, the pixels, become more obvious than had you just gotten it right to begin with. Now, if you're not going to be printing, you probably just don't care. But if you're going to be printing, which I highly recommend, you can tell in the quality of the photograph. Now, there are tools, there are additional software tools that can actually help out with that. But gosh, why go through all that trouble of fixing a problem you could have fixed in 2 seconds at your camera? So we'll be talking about those kind of things next time. We'll also be talking about a handheld meter and what its advantages are in portrait photography. That way you have a couple of additional options that you just don't have when it's in your camera alone. And if you're using a flash, strobes, the meter inside your camera is worthless. It absolutely cannot do anything. And in that instance, you're guesstimating or you're using a handheld. So we'll talk about those things next time.
Well, Lawrence, thanks you for your time and your information, Jim. So
thank you, Lawrence, and thank you, Dr. V.
So photo, you have anything going on with Photo SA? I know y'all just had your youth contest last month. We were a sponsor of that. Anything else coming up on your Photo SA?
Yes, we sure do. And thank you, Finerworks, for donating so many great prizes to the youth tournament that we had 2 weeks ago. We had a number of participants in in 3 different age group categories, 5 to 8, 9 to 12, and 13 to 15. We broke them up into different age groups, and you guys donated a ton of stuff towards those guys so that they can see their print, their work as a print. Many of those kids have never seen their photograph in print before, so they get to have this experience, this brand new experience they've never had before because of your donation to the tournament. So I want to thank you for doing that. And what we have coming up 1 week from today. Today's the first Thursday of the month, and the second Thursday of the month, every single month since 2006, we have a photo essay meeting. We meet at the Dominion Country Club in San Antonio, Texas. So if you're close, then you are welcome to attend. You don't need to be a member, just show up, have fun. And the topic this month is an interesting one. We have the city photographer of the city of San Antonio. I didn't even know before, maybe a few months ago, that there was a city photographer for the city of San Antonio. And it turns out he's photographed me before. Even after visiting with him and planning this for him to come in and talk, I didn't even know at that point that he had photographed me before. Something happened to cause me to look back at some photographs that were created in January of 2019. Because from 2015 until January of 2019, I served on a city board representing District 6, and it was the tricentennial celebration that San Antonio turned 300 in 2018. And so I was on that board. And when we were recognized by city council, all of us were there, and our staff was there as well. And he was there photographing us getting this recognition. And so at that point, when I was looking back at these photographs, I looked at the copyright to see who photographed it. And there's his name, Fred Gonzalez. So he's photographed me before, but he's going to be coming and speaking about what he does, what's, a little bit of information about the behind the scenes, and just share, what the job of a city photographer is. So I'm looking forward to that. So it's 6:30 at the Dominion Country Club here in San Antonio.
Sounds good.
That's great. Well, we're almost here towards the end. Did either one of y'all have any other things that y'all want to share? Or Jim, I know you're planning on taking your photography school kind of more on a broad basis, right?
You're looking at Landers photography schools and become an online school, isn't it?
Yes, I appreciate you asking that. So I've been teaching since 1997 and have had a physical school since 2003 until 2020. COVID decided you don't need that. Yeah, COVID made a lot of changes for everybody. So one of those things was we moved out of our school, our office space, our retail space, and have been doing things online. But I don't know. I guess I've thank you for putting that up. I've kind of been resisting the inevitable change because I've still tried to do it. Do all my classes live, and that's good. I'm going to continue doing that kind of thing, but I'm going to go more into what's called in the coaching world and the education world evergreen, meaning I'm going to, instead of having only live options, I'm going to record these classes so that someone can start at the beginning whenever they want to start. Because previously in our career photographer program, if you wanted to start with our career photographer program, you'd have to start in September. That's it. If you came in October, I'd say, see you next year. And I didn't like doing that. They didn't like it when I did that because, well, first of all, if there's something you want and you can't have it, how does that make you feel? So, of course. But what does that cause them to do? It causes them to seek some other solution because why would you wait a year? So most people wouldn't do that. So this is going to be something that someone could, and it's our career photographer program specifically, is one part of Landers Photography School, but it's going to become the main thing that we're doing, where you can start taking these classes, and this is definitely geared for the low volume portrait photographer. So this is, I'm sorry for the landscape photographers, the medical photographers, the sports photographers. Sorry, this is absolutely geared for the portrait photographer who enjoys people, who wants to spend time with them, who wants to photograph families. They want to photograph high school seniors. Maybe they want to photograph boudoir, or they want to do maternity or babies. That's who this is for, who want to make a great income meaning they don't have another job. This is their sole income, doing maybe 1 to 5 sessions a week. So very low volume and bringing in plenty of income. And I can't, of course, make income claims, but the program sets you up where you're going to be bringing in more than $10,000 a month, assuming you put this, what I have in place. Again, no income claims because I can't do that. I can only lead the horse to water. Making him drink is the horse's responsibility. So yes, the tools are there, but it is the effort and the dedication that you provide that actually make it happen. I just provide a framework to help you with what you've already got. And so this is geared for for someone who's already a photographer, who already knows something about photography. They know what a shutter speed is. They know what an f-stop is. They do that part, and they just need help on the business side. This is a 1-year program, and it's a ton of information and lots of scripts that you can use, and forms, and lots of different pieces and parts that I hand out. Like I mentioned a little while ago with this presentation today about installation, there is another hour's worth of information about that, plus all of the templates, all of the scripts that I use, the email sequences, the thank you note, all of those things is part of the program that I present to you. And it's every step of the process on the business side. The majority of it's behind the scenes, and not any of it is on the behind the camera part. So that's what it is. That's the Career Photographer program, a 1-year program, and it's $12,000 for that program. And for those who pay for it up front, at least for now, while we're changing it to that, I'm actually going to take $2,000 off of it. And so that would be for those who are able to put it on a credit card or two to make that happen.
And also, isn't like learning and education kind of a write-off in your business when you're doing stuff like that?
It is. Yeah.
So
Now, I don't make any. I don't do anything on the legal side or the tax side,
yeah,
and so I'm going to say talk to your tax professional,
yeah. See if you,
because in most situations this is something that is considered a business expense, because it's enhancing your business, it's growing your business. So yes. Now, again, I'm not going to claim that. I'm going to claim go talk to your tax professional, because in a lot of situations it could work in your favor.
it could. And if you go to Landers School,
Landers
web,
Photography School.
photographyschool.com there, and scroll down to the bottom. Jim does have get email updates. So if you go ahead and put your email in there, I believe Jim will go ahead and let you know when those courses are going to be available online.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, Jim, as always, we appreciate your time and your knowledge, and just your willingness to always help other people in the community here, and on the online community as well, and our customer base as well. So thank you from all of us, and we'll definitely see you next month.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys. This has been so much fun. I look forward to the next time, and maybe I'll see you guys on Thursday at Photo SA.
Absolutely.
All right.
We'll see.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye for now.